I call to order the Gladstone City Council meeting for October 11th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Good evening, everybody. This week is National Fire Prevention Week, so please take the time to make a plan that will keep your family and home safe from unintentional fires. And I'm sure the Clackamas County Fire District website has a lot of really good information that will help you do just that. The City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines set forth in House Bill 2560, which requires we make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide the opportunity for the general public to participate to the best of our ability. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. The council members and staff will be in person in our council chambers, as well as those citizens that wish to attend in person. The Zoom access instructions can be found on the meeting agenda. Public comment requests were accepted prior to noon today and were to include your topic and phone number. And because this is a hybrid meeting, please be patient if I run into glitches. In order to keep this meeting moving forward, if folks become disruptive, we will mute the microphones and remove them from the meeting. If that fails to stop the disruption, we will recess the meeting and return within 5 minutes. If we are unable to continue, council will briefly meet to move unfinished business to the next council agenda. Tonight, we'll start with our consent agenda, which includes approval of the September 13th, 2022 regular meeting minutes, approval of the August bank balances, budget report for periods ending August 31st, 2022, approval of the August check register, legal costs on projects, and our department head monthly reports for September 2022. Our regular meeting agenda includes item number 7, which is the Clackamas Fire District number 1 update. Item 8 was to be a presentation from Tukwila Springs, but it has been removed from our agenda. Item 9 is contract for 3J Consulting to provide planning and zoning services to the city of Gladstone. So Tammy, could you please call the roll?
Councillor Ripley.
Yes.
Councillor Alexander.
Yes.
Councillor Tracy.
Present.
Councillor Hartman.
Here.
Councillor Todd.
Present.
Councillor Garlington.
Here.
Mayor Stemple.
Here. Could everyone please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jackie, are there any agenda additions or corrections?
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Actually, I forgot to mention that we are going to be talking about the National Opioid Settlement Agreement during business carried forward. And I'd also like to add another item to business carried forward, and that is a statement from the police department that our police liaison is going to read. All right, so the first is the consent agenda. Do we have any questions or concerns? I don't see any. Would someone make a motion, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Yep. Nope.
Motion was made by Councillor Hartman, seconded by Councillor Alexander. Do we have any other addition, any questions, concerns, comments? I don't see anything. Tammy, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Councillor Hartman.
Aye.
Councillor Tracy.
Aye.
Councillor Alexander.
Yes.
Councillor Ripley.
Yes.
Councillor Todd.
Yes.
Councillor Garlington.
Yes.
Mayor Stemple.
Yes, consent agenda has passed. Any correspondence?
Nothing. Thank you.
All right, so before we start, I'd like to make a couple comments. First, for those folks that would like to speak, the deadline to accept comments was noon today. And as a reminder, we allow 3 minutes for public comment. Second, as I do before every meeting, I would like to say a few words regarding the council. The most important limitation we have sitting here is that we are representing the citizens of Gladstone, not our own personal agendas and beliefs. There have been many times when a decision being made doesn't align with what we would like personally, but have made a decision based on what is best for the city as a whole. That does not mean our personal beliefs have changed, just that the city's needs were more important. As we discuss and consider matters, there are laws and rules we have to use as the basis of our decisions. These start at the federal and state level, then they filter down to our city's comprehensive plan, city charter, codes, and ordinances. We do not have the luxury of randomly making decisions, but instead have to be consistent and take a path that is defensible. So the first item is number 7, which is a report from Clackamas Fire District number 1, Brian Stewart.
Thanks for having me tonight. It's good to see everyone. The engine did want to be here. We had Kirk Stempel set to share about the local activities in Gladstone, but as I was coming this way, they were going that way on a call. So as is the nature of the business. As Mayor Stempel shared, this week is Fire Prevention Week, and the theme that we have adopted is Fires Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. With that, I would just reiterate that this includes all aspects of creating a home fire escape plan, how to put the plan in motion, and then actually practicing that plan with all your family members. The other piece that I would individually just advocate for is close before you doze. Making sure that your bedroom doors are closed. The easiest way to prevent fire spread is to compartmentalize the fire. And if you look online anywhere and just search for like closed bedroom door, you will see plenty of examples where the hallway is black and charred and alligatored down to the studs. And then the bedrooms have maybe some light smoke damage when those doors are closed. So key pieces there to keep everybody safe. And then you folks have our written report, but a couple other things that the fire district tackled this month was a piece for caring for our firefighters, making sure that not only are they healthy and safe for themselves and their families, but also to make sure that they are ready and able to respond. So this month we hosted a firefighter for a day training of local orthopedic physicians, surgeons, and physical therapists, so they could learn more about the firefighter tasks in conjunction with our Ready Rebound injury contract. And so this had them doing our tasks, wearing our gear, extricating out of cars and doing those types of things so they could see what we need to do to be ready to respond after an injury or to prevent injuries. Additionally, we also took a look at and did some investigation work. I mean, we do it on fires generally, but this case, there was a series of fires along the Johnson Creek Springwater corridor. And so our fire investigators worked alongside law enforcement to help rectify that. And I'm not sure that that's been concluded yet, but I know they are actively engaged as they often are. Outside of that, this month, yesterday was an exciting day for us as a fire district. We added 15 new firefighters to our roles. They started a new academy. So it's a combination of firefighter paramedics. I believe there's some firefighter EMTs in there. Excited for them. They'll have 3 months to learn how we do things in Clackamas and before they're out on the fire engines, helping serve the communities. This week, last week, we had a successful open house with Happy Valley on Saturday afternoon. And this Saturday, we will be holding one from 1 to 3 p.m. At the Oak Grove Station. You're certainly welcome to come enjoy that. And then our big one, at least for our volunteer association and the communities to the east, is Eagle Creek. October 31st is always a big post and pre-COVID to do. So that'll be exciting for us. This month in Gladstone, our crews are ready. Appreciate the help with Tammy and staff to let us know what the kind of situation and what we would be expecting with the community events on Halloween would be for Gladstone. Our crews are expecting to be passing out helmets and candy to the kids. We'll have some other staff there. So in case there's a call, we'll still have some fire representation there. So I know Mike Bauer and his crews are excited about that. Depending on what my kids want to do, I may or may not be by, but there's definitely some trick-or-treating in our future. And that is the report that I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Did anyone tell you how many kids to expect?
No.
Like 2,000 to 3,000. So be prepared.
We bought one bag of candy. It was a small one.
No, there's a lot of kiddos that come for that. So be prepared.
Yeah, it's exciting. We've really enjoyed. I was sharing this with Administrator Betts the other day when we were touring the fire station as it's nearing completion. We've really enjoyed being part of Gladstone. The crews have enjoyed it. It's a station where people want to be, and so it's been our pleasure to serve. If there's time, I'd invite Kirk Stempel to come share a couple comments.
Sure.
Hey. I cover mainly general fire district stuff. So if you want to catch you guys.
Sure. Sorry about that. We're outrunning calls. So the fire station remodel is going. The guys have been there hanging sheetrock all day. So we're excited about it. The calls, there was a total of 220 calls for 222 for engine 22 and 141, I believe, in the city of Gladstone. So pretty busy. Crews are just working their tails off. So having a great time. Beautiful weather.
All right, does anybody have any questions? Start with Counselor Hartman.
No.
Counselor Tracy,
No question.
Counselor Ripley,
No questions.
Counselor Todd.
Someday I'm not going to start to talk when you say Counselor Tracy every time. I can start today. No, thank you.
Oh, Counselor Garlington.
So I have just a couple of questions. One, you were talking about fire prevention month, week. Did you get to get into the schools? Were you guys able, is that something that you do in getting engaged with the kids or stop, drop and roll kind of thing? Okay, y'all remember that, right?
Stop, drop, and roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Our engagement with the schools has been a little different and more limited, but we're being able to get in with limited capacity. I
Okay,
guess, trying to balance all the concerns.
okay. And then just a very small housekeeping thing. Is there money in the budget somewhere to fix the side of their building?
Yeah,
Talking
so
about
today the Public Works Director and I were talking about the side of the building that's exposed now that the old city hall's come down, and we're
Yeah.
probably gonna at least put a fresh paint of coat or coat of paint on that side.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Counselor Alexander.
You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. If there's anything you need from us, let us know.
Great. Thank you so much.
Next was item 8, which has been removed from our agenda. So next is item 9, which is to consider approval of a personal services contract between the City of Gladstone and 3J Consulting Services to provide Gladstone planning and zoning services and authorizing city administrator to sign the agreement. Staff.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. And just as an update to the Tequila Springs report that was scheduled for tonight, it will be rescheduled probably for the November 22nd work session. So tonight before you, you have an item that exceeds my spending authority. And as all of you are aware, for many years, Clackamas County has provided planning and zoning services for Gladstone. It does not have its own planning community development department. So one of the city's strategic goals this past year was to go out for a request for proposals to see if there are any interested firms that would like to provide that service for Gladstone. During the pandemic, we all had to go to virtual meetings. But one of the impediments to Clackamas County providing the services is that people in Gladstone that want to develop or build have to go over to Beaver Creek to meet with the staff. And so what we're hoping to accomplish is to have kind of a one-stop shop in Gladstone by having a consultant do that work for us here. So we went out for requests for proposals for the qualifications. We were very surprised and pleased that we received 5 proposals. We put a selection committee together that include Mayor Tammy Stemple, Planning Commissioner Michael Milch, John Southgate Consulting, City Recorder Tammy Bannock, and myself. And we interviewed 2 of the firms that we felt rose to the top. We are very pleased that it was a unanimous decision that 3J Consulting would do a remarkable job for Gladstone. In your packet, you have a copy of the proposal that they submitted. And in the RFP, we asked them to also understand that Gladstone has done a lot of work in the past few years in regards to our downtown revitalization plan. We need to update our comprehensive plan. So in addition to just current planning services, we're hoping that 3J will also be able to assist us with our long-term projects. The amount that we are asking the council to approve is $100,000 each fiscal year. We will enter into an initial 2-year contract to see how that agreement goes with them. Heather Austin will be the primary planner for the city of Gladstone, and she's very excited about the opportunity. And I would welcome Mayor Stemple or our city recorder, Tammy Bannock, if they wanted to provide any additional insights, but we were very excited about this company providing the service.
Yeah, they were fantastic to interview. Their references, their qualifications were amazing. Before being mayor, I spent 14 years on planning commission. And so for me, this kind of helped it hit close to home because we really needed our own planner for a long time. We want somebody that looks at our interests first instead of the counties or the regions. We want our vision pushed forward. So this is a great move for the city.
So with that, I'm just asking the council to go ahead and approve the personal services contract and authorizing the city administrator to sign.
All right, Counselor Hartman, any questions?
No questions from me. Thank you.
Counselor Tracy,
No questions.
Counselor Ripley,
How's this will this have any effect on our planning committee? Is this gonna take stuff away from them or make it easier for them, or
Yeah,
is it
so
get rid of them, or what's the?
no, the planning commission will still be a governing body. And now instead of Joy Fields reporting to the planning commission, Heather will do that work for them. The planning commission has a very aggressive 2-year plan they're working on. So this will actually help them by getting in a firm that can do more than just the current planning projects.
Counselor Todd.
Will this speed up the different planning and things that we have going on? Because I know that when there's permitting that needs to be done, I mean, it takes forever to get our park structure at Max Patterson approved. Will this help?
I think it will help streamline our process, also primarily because we will have better communication between our management team
Mhm.
and this person. But that is the goal, is to streamline, get it ready for developers so that they can do what it is they want to do, especially with the new middle housing codes that have been changed for that.
Okay, thank
The
you.
Permitting is still going to be done through the county.
The building permitting part
Building permitting
will still go through the county.
and be slow as.
We hope not. We hope not. All right, Counselor Garlington.
Okay, so I guess I didn't quite understand the spending of $100,000 because in here it says not to exceed. So do we pay them on a per project basis?
It will be an hourly basis.
Okay,
Part of the proposal when we solicited qualifications was that they knew transparency, the city only has X amount of dollars. Can you do this work for that? And so they have provided confirmation. It's on an hourly basis. We will not exceed that amount that's in the budget.
I guess I'm not understanding how we can't not exceed if we had a project come up that required their work. First of all, does the fees that people pay cover some of these costs?
Some of it does. Right now, when somebody goes to apply for a land use design, they pay the fees through Clackamas County.
Right.
So one of the steps the city will have to go through, if you approve this contract in December, we will ask you to adopt the land use fees.
Okay,
So some of those go towards these costs. In regards to what if we have a big project that we need to do and we don't have the money, we have to prioritize that. And as we go into our next biennium budget, we will look to the budget committee to say, these are the projects we want to work on. This is the money that we need to do that. Right now, we only budget for current planning services, but we're getting behind on our long-range planning. So we need to recognize that there is a need for us to do some more projects, but they will have to be prioritized.
okay. And then my other question, thank you for that, is have we gotten to a point where we've exceeded $100,000 with county or with Joy?
No,
No. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Counselor Alexander.
I have no questions.
All right. So then I would entertain a motion to approve the contract. If someone would like to do so.
I'll make a motion. We approve a personal services contract between the city of Gladstone and 3J Consulting for planning and zoning services and authorizing the city administrator to sign.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Alexander and seconded by Counselor Garlington. Do we have any further discussion? Questions, concerns? I don't see any. Tammy, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Alexander,
Yes.
Counselor Tracy,
Aye.
Counselor Hartman,
Aye.
Counselor Todd,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Stemple.
Yes, contract has been approved. All right, good. We can move that one forward. Business carried forward is item number 12, which is a follow-up discussion regarding the National Opioid Settlement Agreement. Staff.
Yes, so thank you, Mayor, City Council. The reason this is on the agenda is because I'm looking for guidance from you tonight. As you recall, in August, we had a work session. Clackamas County came and talked about their substance use and overdose prevention initiative. There are multiple cities in Clackamas County that are receiving funds because of this national opioid crisis and the settlement agreement. A copy of the presentation that Clackamas County provided. Because this information was provided at a work session, I could not get an action from you. So what I would like to know tonight is, would you like the city to move forward working with Clackamas County to utilize the city's $7,000 that we will receive each year towards assisting with the opioid crisis? And as you will see in the staff report, I also highlighted some areas that the city council could choose that they would want to leverage their money. I don't believe you have to answer those questions tonight. Really, I'm just looking for guidance. If you want us to move forward with negotiating a contract, City Attorney Chad Jacobs and I would work with Clackamas County. That agreement would then come back to you at a future date, and it would include items in regards to how you would like to see the county use Gladstone's funds.
So do you want a consensus from us, an actual motion?
I think a consensus is fine.
Okay. Counselor Hartman.
So just to clarify, we don't need to make decisions on what we would like to see those funds being used for, or suggestions as you wrote in the staff action?
I'm not asking for you to approve those, but those are some ideas. And if you're okay with those, we can move forward, but we will have another opportunity to discuss that when the IGA comes back.
Okay. That was my only question, and I am fine with going with an IGA.
All right, Counselor Tracy.
No question.
Yes or no on,
I'm fine with it. Yes.
okay. Counselor Ripley.
Yes.
Counselor Todd.
Yes.
Counselor Garlington.
I just want to say, I would never tell you how to do your job, Administrator Betts, but I don't think for $7,000 we should get too far into the weeds on this thing and waste too much time and money of city resources. I think that an agreement, I'm in agreement with the agreement, but I think it should be very simplified and, make the most use out of the dollars rather than the time having people have meetings.
So yes, you're in favor. All right, Counselor Alexander.
Yes, I'm in favor. I agree with Counselor Garlington also, and I'm in favor.
All right, and I'm in favor also. So yeah, move forward with it.
Thank you.
And how long do you think it'll be before we'll come back with some kind of an IGA?
Clackamas County is now on the circuit with all the other cities, so I'm imagining there might be like a stock draft agreement. It could take several months for that to come back.
Okay,
Ask one more question.
sure.
Are you going to, in your agreement, would you include all of the installments that we come up with, or are you just talking about the first one?
We could choose to do 1 or 2 years and then revisit it in a couple of years, which would probably be Chad and my recommendation to do so.
Okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next, Counselor Alexander, who is liaison to our police department, would like to read a statement from our police chief and staff.
Yeah, I just think this needs to be read into the record. So Jackie met with Lieutenant Gerkman and Chief Schmerber and here some clarifications from listening to comments from Lisa Halcomb from the 9/13 council meeting. At no point did anyone report using the word faggot. Lieutenant Gerkman spoke to participants at Happy Rock Coffee that night multiple times and told them protesters were not committing crimes. He also reviewed a video on site, during which time there were no crimes being committed or any language being used towards protective classes. No police officer heard any biased words and no one blocked the sidewalks. We warned the protesters that they could not obstruct right of way or any pathway, and they needed to remain on public property. If Ms. Halcomb or anyone else wants to file a report that reflects otherwise, then they can contact Chief Schmerber or Lieutenant Gerkman. Library Director Missy Olson confirmed that the library closed an hour early because she only had 2 female employees working. She said if she had known this was going to happen, she would have scheduled another employee and stayed open. She said the police were very helpful and assisted patrons to drop off books. The police department will meet with Missy to go over protocols should this happen again. In regard to the vandalism that occurred with Lisa's van, it is still under investigation, and we confirm that Officer Hutchison has provided Ms. Halcomb several updates on the incident. We also provided her crime prevention tips. The Gladstone Police Department must respect the constitutional rights of all people to liberty, equality, and justice. The police department has no agreements or affiliations with the Proud Boys. Their priority is to maintain public safety for our community and those involved. Our ability to prohibit activities is very limited, and as the government, we need to be careful in attempting to do so, even if we strongly disagree with the message being shared. The police department has not received or heard a video outside of Lieutenant Gerkman's view that night during the protest. The only other information we have is that Officer Hutchinson reached out again to Mrs. Halcomb regarding the investigation and received no response. Chief Schmerber also reached out via email to Mrs. Halcomb and did not get a response. Chief Schmerber has a meeting with county library staff next week to discuss the exclusion process in the event this issue should occur again. And our police are doing a great job, and too often only one side of the story gets told. And I think that needs to be read into the record so we have both sides. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is business from the audience. Each person has 3 minutes to speak. Our governing body takes the input of our citizens into consideration. However, in order to comply with Oregon public meeting laws, this isn't a time for dialogue, but instead a time for us to listen. Our city administrator and clerk are taking notes in case there's an item that requires further action. Could you call the first person up, please?
The first is Donna Herbs.
Go on. Thank you. My name is Donna Herbs, and I live in unincorporated Clackamas County. I come to you this evening as a mother, a grandmother, and a retired health professional. Today, we have what seems to be a barely acknowledged crisis on our hands. I'm talking about the terrifying and abusive behavior of Proud Boys and similar people. Whether it is the repeated targeting and harassment of local business owners and their customers, or the intimidation of library workers and patrons, just to name a couple, my concern for the well-being of my fellow Clackamas County residents grows each day. And when I see swastikas and slurs painted on Jewish community, I beg your pardon. I know for a fact that many marginalized communities are targeted, harassed, and assaulted. Be you Jewish, as I am, LGBTQ, as I am, a unionist, as I am, or a person of color, I think you're at risk. So when I see swastikas and slurs painted on Jewish community buildings, or when I see flyers such as this one handed out in the community, I am saddened and I am furious. Now, I have no expectation of changing the minds of those who seek power and satisfaction through the easy targeting of those they perceive as other. But I am angry when the list of hate and bias crimes in Clackamas County receiving media attention gets this long in just 1 year, yet I don't see any coordinated and effective response from city and county officials to this horror and terror. And these are just the ones getting media coverage, and not the ones that don't make the news, and not the ones that people are too frightened to report. As a citizen of this county and as a patron of Gladstone businesses and services, I demand a swift and coordinated plan using education and enforcement to end this relentless abuse of people in this city and county. I welcome the council's engagement and offer my experience and expertise to this body and or the county commission with the sincere intention of working collectively towards solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you call up the next person, please?
Nancy Slavin.
Nancy Slavin, I'm an Oregon City resident. Good evening, councilors and mayor. When my family first moved to Clackamas County, we lived in Gladstone. Our child started at John Wetton and attended public school here until 7th grade, danced for many years at Grand Finale, and we still patron many businesses and have many friends here. For almost 20 years, I was a violence prevention coordinator and educator in small communities just like this one. I know what hate-filled people are capable of, and I've seen their violence escalate when they do not get intervention. The council and Gladstone PD have received dozens of reports of intimidation, harassment, vandalism, tire slashing, car keying, and outright physical violence. I'm asking this council to take meaningful action to stop the Proud Boys and other like them in Gladstone from fomenting further trauma and divisiveness. A coordinated community response is in fact the solution to fostering community safety. Many residents won't speak publicly about the Proud Boys for fear of becoming targets or experiencing further acts of violence, or because sadly they think it's futile to try. Businesses are losing customers and a few will likely leave or close down. Lost tax revenues, empty storefronts will be the result of this city's failing to hold the primary aggressors accountable. There are not two equal sides to this group's behavior. Several reported incidents could be considered hate crimes for most who have been targeted are from marginalized communities, but no such charges have been made. Also, Gladstone police have not reported to the state all incidents of bias, such as the anti-Semitic flyers. The city can be held liable if any lawsuits are filed against the department, so it behooves you to encourage the PD to implement their own protocols, like 318.2 in the Gladstone Police Department manual that says they will protect community safety, show compassion and understanding for victims and witnesses, and make reasonable efforts to provide support and information, which I do not understand has happened. Other cities have responded to hate groups like this by requiring and denying permits or enforcing simple county codes like Ordinance 05-2013 that says disruptive behavior on Clackamas County Library property is actually contrary to public health, safety, and welfare. But on August 24th, police chose not to disperse those Proud Boys on that property and instead watched the library close down early, as Councilor Alexander said. What's weird is I actually understand the Proud Boys' feelings of powerlessness and subsequent worry about becoming obsolete as a middle-aged white woman. But the real problem with the scarcity we all feel comes from those who hoard power at the top. I want to thank the few city councilors who have heard citizen pleas and who do things like organize mutual aid for residents as climate change and its social and economic impacts rain down on us all. I also am here to help Gladstone foster its well-being, and I hope you will too. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Could you call up the next person, please?
The next is via Zoom, so hold tight for just a moment. It will be Jeanette DeCastro. Jeanette, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jeanette DeCastro. I'm a resident of unincorporated Clackamas County. I have friends in Gladstone and have really enjoyed my visits there. If I have a choice between a strip mall in Happy Valley or an awesome shop in historic downtown Gladstone, I will pick the historic downtown every time. There was a publicized incident on August 24th. I was not present, but it's my understanding that a group of people chose to yell abuse at a private event at Happy Rock Coffee, a drag queen bingo night. I find that incredibly troubling. What I'll point to, here's the thing. In the Gladstone vision and core values for 2021-22, the number one goal listed by the council was our city will be safe. I have the expectation that dedicated public servants, such as yourselves, mayor and councilors, would take every step needed to achieve your goals. They are not lofty or aspirational. They're a fantastic roadmap for what need to be your next steps. Achieving all of those goals is what the community of Gladstone and all of Clackamas County deserves, and especially safety. Safety includes the ability to live, work, and visit. I certainly say I'm a visitor to Gladstone, and be free from bias incidents. As a side note, bias incidents used to be called intimidation. So that's what I'll call them. Intimidation is absolutely unacceptable. My problem is not with specific people. It's with the terrible behavior shown on August 24th. And there have been other documented occasions. There's a troubling pattern of neglecting safety in Gladstone in favor of a very few individuals and their loud voices. That's usually called bullying. Communities need to live, work, and thrive together. The difficult truth is that means leadership must make it crystal clear that intimidating behavior will not be tolerated. I've heard folks on council call graffiti disgusting. I totally agree. Harassment and intimidation are also especially disgusting. It's my expectation and recommendation that the council will speak out together against bias incidents. It's my expectation that the council will manage city operations within their purview and take every step possible to enforce consequences for illegal behavior and intimidation. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
That was the last.
That was it. All right. So next is business from the council, and we'll start with Councillor Hartman.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. We, Councillor Tracy and myself and Administrator Betts attended the League of Oregon Cities Fall Conference this past week. We each individually went to our own seminars that we chose, but I hope to draft up some notes from some of the things that I went to. And one of those was touring some homeless villages, so transition shelters that were put on by St. Vincent de Paul, maybe not the same one, but there was a temporary shelter and a veterans village that we toured and received all of the information on how that county and city did it. And it was really amazing to see like what can work when we all work together. So that was really exciting to see. And then on the second day, it was really looking at building blocks for integrating diversity, equity, inclusion work into city business. And some of the great takeaways that I had is just learning about more access for people with disabilities. So that was really exciting, and I'm happy to share that once I get that all typed up. And I think I just want to add, because we're about correcting the record or putting on the record here, that we have a responsibility to uphold the law, and the state law is to report bias incidents. So while it might not be a crime, bias incidents are important to report. And it will be noted that the police report did get amended on September 20th. And I don't know if that was announced to everybody, but it was amended, and it is, you can find it in our police files that there were bias incidents reported. So thank you for being here, and that is all I have.
All right, next, Councillor Tracy.
Yes, we did attend the League of Oregon Cities last week, and we spoke to, I spoke to quite a few other counselors who are experiencing some of these issues in their towns. I'm going to just leave this with telling y'all, get out and vote to our citizens. That's going to be what changes the power structure up here. Many of you do know how I came onto this council, and I don't think I've ever been met with a more corrupt council than that council at the time. And the way that that appointment happened, that's 6 years ago now, 5.5 years ago. Get out and vote. You guys are going to be the ones that change this. And I see the head nods. You all know what I'm saying. Go out there, door knock for your candidates. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this from the dais, but I don't give a shit. Get out and vote. You got to change this, because otherwise they're going to be running your city. Thank you.
Councillor Ripley.
I think the only thing, well, I'll say two things. Matt's right on, Councillor Tracy's right on getting out and voting. If you, without even going one side or the other, if you go and look at the stats on voting, on the percentages of the city that actually vote, it seems like there's usually less than 50%. That's the best way to get things done. The only other thing I have to say is thanks for everybody for showing up. My 4 years is almost done, and we've had a lot of meetings where there's only been like 1 or 2 people in the audience, and you feel kind of silly up here when there's nobody out there. So thanks for coming, and keep doing it.
Councillor Todd.
That's me. I just wanted to thank everybody who came today and spoke. I know that it's difficult. It's difficult to speak out in these scenarios, and I want you to know that you're being heard. And I also suggest you vote.
Counselor Garlington.
So I will reiterate what everyone else said. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. It hurts that people feel fear. I don't know if anybody read their email this week, or this last month. I had sent out an email to our administrator asking that we have a sign-in sheet. And I guess I should follow up with the fact that I got followed home last month, all the way to my house, into my cul-de-sac. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. And maybe that's not the only time I didn't notice it, that I did notice it, because it was pretty blatant. Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't the Uber guy delivering Burger King to the guys next door again. So anyway, that was me. That's why I sent it out. I understand that we're not going to do that because I can't remember why, but we're not going to do that. So I'm just taking ownership on that. I would like to thank the GEMS people, if they're here, on the Red Cross class. It was really, really interesting. And when the fire department came and talked about Fire Prevention Month, and one of the biggest things I took away from the GEMS class and the Red Cross is when there's an emergency, there is nobody in this room that's going to think on their toes as much as what a list on the inside of a closet door would do for your family. So put that list inside that door. A fire, anything that should happen that you've got to leave. That first 15 items that you're going to grab or you're going to need, you're going to be grateful that you had that list. So that's my soapbox today. Well, no, I have one more. The library today, Jackie Betts and Mayor Stemple, can't thank you enough for all your hours, all your hard work, all your talking to people, all you're talking to Clackamas County in getting keeping the library in Gladstone, although I do know it is one library, 2 buildings, in the talks. Thank you for keeping that conversation moving. There were so many people there today that were so grateful. And quite honestly, as much as nobody wants to say it, some of them were quite fearful that that library wasn't going to get built before they died. That's what some of them said to me. So thank you both for doing that. Sometimes I know it's hard to keep things at the top of your priority list, but people appreciate it. And now that it's coming around, and Clackamas County Board, or the BCC, the Board of Clackamas, or Board of
County Commissioners.
Thank you, has authorized the $6 million for the Gladstone building and the additional $9 million for the Oak Grove building through their ARPA funds that they had received, after giving us some of their ARPA funds that they were allowed to do. That just says volumes about the fact that we're going to get a building that is inclusive. Everybody can walk into, every child can check out a book, every senior citizen has a place to go visit. You can learn so much in a library, and it's just exciting that we are going to have another building in our town that makes our town look just that much better. And that's when people want to come here, put up a business, and be part of this community. And we want to welcome people and businesses in our community. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us look good. So I'm really excited about that. Again, Jackie, or Administrator Betts and Mayor Stemple, thank you from the bottom of my heart. My volunteerism of the month. One thing that people can do, and I don't think they realize how easy it is to a food drive. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be some huge, call up 100 friends, because maybe you don't have 100 friends. But one thing you can do to volunteer or to do a food drive, one, clean out your cupboards. Check all those cans for dates that are not expired. If they aren't, put them in a bag, take them down to the food bank. The second would be walking door to door with your kids, showing your children how to volunteer is such a plus for our community. Kids that volunteer are adults that volunteer, and I think that that's really great. And the third would be If you can't do any of that, it just doesn't fit you, volunteer at any food distribution center. They're all over the place. And this is a time of the year where people are hungry, people are alone. And to knock on somebody's door, start a conversation, grab a can of food, and you might find out that that door that you knocked on is the door that you need to bring food to. So that's my soapbox for the month. I'm done. Thank you again for everybody who does everything to make Gladstone a better place.
Counselor Alexander.
I'm going to agree with the rest of them. Just get out and vote. We all have our own stories up here. We had 4 months ago, we had a community member, my neighbor, sit right there and say, yeah, I watch his house. I see who comes and goes and reports it to people. So we all get that. We all go through that. But I'd also like to make I'd like you to make a distinction. They watch my house. You know, you can giggle. She said it. She said right here, watch the video. She said, yeah, I go to the mailbox. I see who's there. I know who's there. So there you go. That happened. So it's not just, people aren't just targeting one side. There's other people on the other side targeting the other people too. And also, I'd like to make a distinction. We get all these emails and it's just funny that, you get an email and there's this whole list of bad stuff. And this is Tammy Stemple. This is our mayor. Her sister's name is Debbie Lum. So to list a whole bunch of bad stuff and then go, the mayor's sister. You all have family members that have done something you don't want to be associated with. And so I just say you'd make that distinction from now on that this is Tammy Stemple, that's Debbie Lum, and saying the mayor's sister, that's just getting old on everything that comes across. We know who's who, and that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you. So I'm last. The food pantry is open from 3 to 6. Thank you, Counselor Garlington, for bringing up the food drive. We're open Thursdays at the Hillside Christian Fellowship Church off Glen Echo in the back portable buildings. Currently, we need volunteers as well as food donations, but we'll take anything that anybody can give, especially time. We're reaching out to so many families that we may be considering 2 days a week. So we'll definitely need some volunteers for that. If you'd like to help, I can connect you with Alex, who's our director. Just send me an email. If you'd like to donate, the prep crew is there on Wednesdays from 2 to 3:30. And just so you know, last Thursday in a 2-hour period, we served 134 families. So that is tremendous need in our community. And I know that's just the tip of the iceberg. So definitely reach out to your neighbors and identify people that need help. The Parks and Rec Board had an update on the Robin Hood Park improvements. The basketball court has been restriped and the new backboard and net should be done in November. The vendor for the play equipment will meet with Public Works in January to go over our options. And the board reviewed the 10-year park capital improvement plan. The expansion of the nature park parking should be done by the end of the year, fingers crossed. The C4 Executive Committee met and we were updated on I-205. The environmental assessment for 205 should be completed and presented in December. And at that point, the public comment period opens. So we don't know what date that's going to be yet. As soon as I know, I'll let people know, but keep your ears open because it's going to be a very short public comment period, probably 30 to 45 days. So we need everybody to weigh in on what they think about tolling. We were supposed to go to Eugene to look at affordable housing options, but it was canceled because there was no buses available to drive us. No drivers and no buses. But we're still very, very committed to finding regional solutions for homelessness and how to connect more people with the support services. The county is considering jurisdiction-specific housing conversations, so we should be working on that probably within the next 2 months. And another one, TriMet is doing their outreach right now for future services. They call the effort Forward Together. They have an online comment portal, which probably nobody knew about. It ends October 31st, so we don't have a whole lot of time left. The site is trimet.org/forward/survey. So if you would like enhanced services or any comments at all, please weigh in. The GEMS meeting on September 22nd was the Be Red Cross Ready event. GEMS is going to be offering a CPR class this month, but I don't know what the date is. And then November is a class on emergency food prep. The Red Cross recommends a go bag per person for a minimum of 3 days, but realistically, you should look more at like 2 weeks. Make sure that you consider your pet's needs in your go bags because that's what a lot of people forget. And remember that 1 gallon of water per person per day is what you should have available. Our next meetings are October 25th, City Council Work Session, 5:30 at City Hall. November 8th is our next regular City Council meeting, and that will be 6:30 at City Hall. That's all. And Halloween, please. We have Halloween coming up. On Halloween, party on Portland Avenue. We're closed. It'll be from 4 to 8 o'clock. If you want to participate with a trunk or treat, or do you want to put up a booth, contact Haley here at City Hall and she can hook you up, but it's going to be a party. We need it. It's going to be amazing. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion was made by Counselor Hartman, seconded by Counselor Tracy. Any discussion? Could you do roll call vote, please?
Counselor Hartman,
Aye.
Counselor Tracy,
Aye.
Counselor Alexander,
Yes.
Counselor Ripley,
Yes.
Counselor Todd,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Mayor Stemple.
Yes, I think this is a record. We're adjourning at 7:21 PM. Thank you, everybody.